Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Abby Hagyar. And I'm just going to click down here. There's a thing I have to click. Click. There it goes. And so on my screen, there's where I see everybody's comments. Mine now says, hi, everyone. Welcome back. Technology is our friend. So I want to begin today with a little toast, a little cheer to, oh my gosh, the most amazing ABCAST in all the ABCASTs. Good morning. Good morning, Eddie. It's so good to see you. On a scale of 1 to everything, how incredibly awesome was yesterday's ABCAST? It was off the charts, right? I mean, for heaven's sake. Cheers. Slurping and glurping here. So, we're still struggling figuring out why Freddie cannot get his comment seen. Good morning, Kelly. It was an 11. Kelly, I just asked Eddie how yesterday's show was out of 10. He said it was an 11. And Kelly, I know that you popped in for a bit, and we just had this extraordinary thing happen. And I have a feeling it had something to do with the key phrase, now what? I had a wonderful opportunity after the ABCAST. I got a chance to get on a call with Rob, who was over the moon about it. Rob lives in Indiana. And then I got on a long overdue call with Rhea. And what they were both telling me, because they both have had really incredibly serious, dangerous head injuries, the kind that you don't come back from. And they came back from. And both of them told me that when you've had something go off, significantly off, and the wiring has been jolted. Rob, there you are. I'm talking about you. And oh, Freddie's there. Freddie, hi. So I was just saying, Rob, that you and Rhea, because I talked to Rhea afterwards, you were both telling me that when there's been a sudden and dramatic jolt that rejigs everything, that the question you ask is, now what? Because nothing is really very clear. Hey, streamer, I was still but couldn't know why I followed. I noticed you. What is this? I noticed you. What? No, I don't think we want to do that. Let's do this. That doesn't look real. Yes, there we go. I thought that what happened yesterday, Rob, Rhea, everybody, was that I managed to use a phrase hysterically, coincidentally. It was my business. I started a business called Now What Strategies 20 years ago. And it was my now what? It was my entire career hit a wall, fell down, and didn't get back up. And it didn't really matter what I did. Probably, I would say the biggest reason it was hard was that one of the jobs I had, one of, I don't know, a million jobs I had, was huge. It wasn't huge in the beginning. Nobody knew it was going to be anything, but it went global. That today they call it viral. It was bigger than viral. You can't do that on television, change the landscape in terms of children's television programming. It hit exactly on target and on point. The latchkey generation needed to have surrogate family to come home to, and there we were. We were winging it and off the wall and crazy, and that was exactly the kind of humor the kids needed. And we were not, quite a few parents found it offensive to be made fun of, but a lot of them realized that we were doing a great thing. And it changed everything. So when all of the shows and jobs, because show business, like everything, is an ebb and a flow, but when everything ebbed, there was nothing. And I was, overshadowed by her. So my now what was, how do I pay the rent? And I realized, thanks to a very clever, very, very valuable connection I made, a brilliant woman in the US who was a script doctor for very big people, Gary Marshall, Rob Reiner. she said to me, do the thing everyone needs. And she said, you have Viking ancestry. Be the navigator everyone needs. Show them not how to. You don't need to tell people how to navigate. You have to remind them that they can. And so she said, what do you say when you expected this and you got nothing? And I say, now what? Well, and so then we would laugh back and forth and decided that now what strategies was perfect. And the irony, of course, is that on a compass, N is at the top, S is at the bottom, and W, west, is on the west, which leaves the east side, instead of an E, to put a question mark. Now what strategies, question mark, right? And how that played out, for everyone that I worked with, was that people came to me for a different kind of task. I had joined a writer's agency, so people were coming to me to write this for them and write that for them. But before they could write the thing they wanted to say, I was saying, okay, but you have to know why you want to say it. You have to know, you love that show, especially the Green Slime. I know, right, Kelly? Latchkey and You Can't Do That hit at the perfect time. Oh, Eddie, thank you so much. And every time I didn't know what to do, I didn't look back. I was an only child. I was a child of the military. My parents had all kinds of issues. And so I didn't have their compass. I didn't have their map. I just kept moving forward. And, roughly every 15 minutes we were moving. And so there wasn't a lot of time to invest in nostalgia. It was all about coming home from school and seeing the moving boxes in the living room again and figuring out what I had to leave behind. Because that's the hard part about moving on. It's not merely the moving on. It is the sorting and accepting, the letting go, that it is overwhelming. And so, serendipitously, or thanks the universe, I got 2 emails today. I subscribe to 3 or 4 people who are really brilliant at kind of pointing out where people kind of get off track a little bit. Seth Godin, if you have not subscribed to his emails, I don't get a dime for this. Seth Godin, Godin, has been around forever. He's written 1 million books. He sends a free email every day. And he gets up at 4 a.m. and writes this email every day. And I've been subscribing to him for every day for over 10, 20 years. And what he was saying today was that we get caught up in the agenda. What is the agenda? It is the everybody agenda. We find ourselves running, competing, when that wasn't why we signed up. Another email I get is from a brilliant business coach named Rob Hatch. And Rob reminded me, and you can certainly look him up as well. Rob reminded me of something that I tell people all the time. People aren't things, and our things aren't us. The things we hold on to that remind us of the memories, those things aren't the people we are reminded of. We collect them, we hang on to them. But as a military kid, at some point, you have to let him go of, yes, it is a daunting task, Eddie. And so, I was talking to Charles Cox a while back when he said they had this beautiful piece of furniture because it had belonged to his dad, and he had got sight of something else that his family had. And I said, Charles, it can be. Good morning, Abby. Good morning, Rhea. Good morning, everyone. And I was saying, Charles, if you and Kat have somebody take a beautiful picture of the two of you with the item, holding a picture of your dad, and you frame that picture, you can take that memory everywhere. because furniture is heavy. Furniture takes up space, and we all have to downsize now and again. And do you want to put it in storage? Well, if you can afford it, hallelujah. But sometimes the hanging onto the physical gets in the way of us realizing that it isn't the physical at all. It is what it triggers in us, right? So the thing I want to talk about today, thanks to the universe for deciding to talk about now what on Tuesday, is I'm going to talk about wait, what? Wait, what? That way. Hang on a second. So when you're walking and you're saying red car, red car, red car, red car, red car, blue car, red car, wait, what? What? Blue car? Wait, what? Is our brain giving us a nudge? Did that grass move over there? What's behind the grass? And I have forever, since I started doing Now What Strategies, I said, imagine yourself in a clearing. You've gone for a walk. You're not in the jungle, but there's, overgrowth. You're walking along and it's quiet, it's beautiful, and the bugs and the bees and everything like that, and the mosquitoes. And you come into a small clearing and there's a pond. And it's so pretty, right? You can just picture it. And it's quiet, except for the birds and the bees and the whatnot. It's quiet. It's not deathly quiet. It's just so peaceful. The sun is kind of dappling through the trees. It's just lovely. And you look at the pond and you're sitting there looking at the pond and you say to yourself, look at that ripple on the surface of the water. Isn't that pretty? And then you say to yourself, you know what? There's no breeze. Your brain has said, wait, what? There's no breeze. What's making the water ripple? If there's no breeze, hello? And so you walk a little closer, maybe not too close, because what's making the ripple? Now maybe there's an underground stream feeding the pond. That could be it. And maybe it's tripping over a pebble, a boulder, or whatever. Or maybe there's a fish. So you just step closer to see. But if you're not paying attention, the ripple just, is part of the landscape. But if it doesn't make sense somewhere in the back of your head, that the math doesn't math, your brain is telling you, take a look, take a closer look. What do you suppose that is? And when I read Seth's letter today, and I read Rob Hatch's letter today, and I was thinking of the talks that I had with my third brilliant letter writer, Chris Brogan, I said to myself, it's time to talk about Jackal and Hyde. And I don't mean Jekyll and Hyde. I'm using a wordplay. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was a story about a man who shifted personalities. One was very evil and one was very kind. One was a doctor and the other was a monster of some kind. But I have been talking in Pivotry and Motion about the training that we need all the time, every day, to stay in the game. It's not that you have to do 11,000 push-ups. It's not that you have to run a marathon. It's not that you have to clean the house obsessively. But we do need to train to maintain. I love that phrase. That came from Liam McGuire, who is a hockey trivia expert, celebrity in his own right. And he said all the people that he works with all the time, they are the elite athletes. And they know that if they want that career, then they have to train to maintain. And he said it's the same with successful people in any walk of life. If you want to be good at something, you need to train to maintain. You need to keep yourself sharp. You need to pay attention. You need to be ready and aware when you see that tall grass move when there's no wind in the savannah, when you see the ripple on the surface of that pond in a quiet clearing, when you notice somebody doing something that just, it doesn't land hard. You did that and you fell into the pond. Well, if you have balance issues, Rhea, maybe stand further back. So, so you have your mom's rocker and your dad's saber. Yeah. Otherwise, your memories are augmented with photos. Well, exactly. And of course, we keep our keepsakes. Of course, I mean, who am I not to? There she is, right there, right? And there's my pictures of the other stuff, and there's my shoes. Although I think it could be fair to say that those are just not mementos. I actually still can walk in some of them. So just saying. So the weight what? If we hear ourselves or feel that, I used to call it the loose toothishness. When you got a loose tooth and your tongue keeps woggling it and you keep saying, yeah, yeah, I know, right? Or you keep looking at the dashboard and you think, I got to put a Band-Aid over that light that keeps coming on. So you came right back up, says Rhea, and I found a baby turtle. All right. So the fall was on a path too. All right. So the weight what is some inner sense, our subconscious brain, not feeling it, just not feeling it, and letting you know. And you're not really conscious of it. But I began working with that. As I was working with more and more clients, I had started out saying I'm a writer and I'm a ghostwriter, and I can help you, rebrand and come up with something that is more like your own signature than somebody else's. As that work continued, though, I began to realize that people were not paying attention to who they are. We all learn by imitating somebody else. And then gradually, as we get older, we also then put our own thumbprint on it. The way our mom taught us to get glop onto a spoon and into our mouth without wearing most of it. That's how we started. And then we embellished it. There's a story I want to tell you about embellishing. I'll tell you in a second. The idea is that so it is natural that we are going to be externally driven. We're going to look for validation externally because that's how we learned to live and thrive. It's normal that we look to our guide. At some point in time, though, we outgrow our guide. It's not that necessarily that we're smarter. I'm not putting anybody's loved ones down. It's that what they thought they knew when they knew it, and that's what they taught to us. So what they thought they knew when they knew it and did their best to teach to us may not be as relevant now. Not because it's any less wise, but because so much has changed. When I was a little kid, there was no internet. So my parents taught me how to look things up using a book. 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, there were no books. How we learned things was by listening to the elders in the village, in the tribe. Knowledge was passed on. Vikings had no written language. How they passed their knowledge on was through storytelling, because it's easier to remember a story than it is to remember instructions. I know, I have bought a lot of stuff from IKEA that I had to get somebody else to finish putting together. But the story of it, because it has a rhythm and a flow, we are able to remember the rhythm and flow. We get into the feeling of the story, then the details make sense, right? So what I found as I was getting deeper and deeper into this client work is that people had no idea how to verify things, how to say, I don't think that's working for me now, without feeling tremendous guilt. Sometimes because people guilted them. Oh, it's not good enough for you now. I see. Fine then. Well, don't mind me. I only carried you for 9 months. That. So I came up with some questions. Kind of when you go to the doctor and there's an intake and then there's a diagnostic. So on Tuesday, I was giving you the 5W questions. What does it do? Who is it for? What does it change? Who does it serve? What does it do? Who is it for? What does it change? Why do they care? What's in it for me? Right? Those are the 5 whys. So the questions today that I would love you to add to the list. This is the wait what. Okay? Wait what is our navigator's intuition. Let's call it that. It's our back of the brain. What was that? Wait what? First of all, is it a thing? Is it a thought? Is it a tradition? Or is it a habit? Do I do it because I did it? Do I do it because they did it? Is it a tangible thing or a pattern? Because either one, if it's a tangible thing or a pattern, it's still not us. It's not who we are. And therefore, we don't have to blame ourselves and get caught up in the shame and the guilt which are distractions, right? So, is it a thing, or is it a habit? All right, because things and habits aren't people, and that's an important distinction. Okay. Yesterday, I also talked about a definition of belief, and I said the difference between a belief and a fact is that a belief is actually an agreement we make with a piece of information, whether that information is true or not. We agree to that information. We agree to carry it. We agree with it. We agree to align with it, whether it's true or not. That is a belief. Okay, those are our yesterdays. First thing today, is it a thing or is it a pattern? That's the first. The second is, and this is huge, so I'm going to say it a couple of times. Is it true? Or does it need to be true to keep you where you are? To give you permission to stay with the status quo? And in many cases, stuck. Is it true? Or does it need to be true? Because your wait what is hearing or seeing something and saying, I don't think so. But it's pre-verbal, so it can't articulate. It can't say lion. It can't say, it's either a lion or it's somebody lying, right? It can't tell you those things. All it can say is, hey, and we hear, wait, what? So is it a thing, an actual tangible thing, or is it a pattern, a habit? Because if it's a thing, we can let it go. If it's a pattern, we can rewire it. If it's us, we have different work to do. All right? Those are the first two. I wrote them down because they're so important. Now, here's the third one. And this goes to one of the books that I'm doing. Well, thank you, Rob. Thank you. Now, this is the one, I'm going to say, I just put the book down and I mean, okay. This speaks to something else I said on Tuesday. Is what they want mine to own. I'll say it a different way. That they want it does not necessarily mean I must want it. And good morning, Maggie. Good morning. I'm talking about all our stuff here. So the conversation goes like this. If everybody's chasing the gold, the gold pot of gold, if everybody's on the merry-go-round riding around and around until they throw up in order to catch the brass ring, if everybody's getting on the bandwagon to buy the latest thing, the wait what moment is, why? What are you doing it for? The other way to say it is, they want it? Good on you. That they want it does not mean I gotta have it. So the gut check is it mine to own? Or is it what people appear to be doing? When all the animals are suddenly running and you're standing there chewing grass on the savannah and you're watching all the animals and you're saying to yourself, maybe I'll start running because that doesn't look good. That doesn't look safe. Maybe I'll start running. At least I'll walk alongside to figure out what's going on. Now, there could be a lot of things. You could be perfectly fine where you are. They could all be lemmings heading for a cliff, sudden irrational need to leap to their deaths. It could be a good signal. It could be that ripple in the pond. There could be a lion right behind. Just because they're running doesn't mean it's time to run. There's no reason you can't kind of pick up the pace and check to see if it is your time to run. The peer pressure episode on You Can't Do That, absolutely, absolutely. Lemmings headed for a cliff, right? So the peer pressure is not peer pressure. It's the pressure we place on ourselves to align. That way, we're invisible. That way, the lion won't catch us. That's what peer pressure is. It's when we were stationed in Europe. I leave North America, right? In my early teens, leave North America, walking around in strange countries. And one fellow in France said, I am fascinated why people in the West insist on wearing clothing with other people's names on it. The last time I had my name on a shirt, I was going to summer camp. Why? Rhea, you'll laugh at this, and I know Maggie will too. Somebody equally funny over there said, and what is this thing? Why do they put names and symbols all over their bodies? Don't they know their name? Don't they know who they are? Do they have short-term memory issues? See, here's the thing. You can be insulted by something like that, but you can't deny the flat-footed logic of the question. I know my name. You apparently don't. Can't remember. And by the way, if you put somebody else's name on your shirt, you have even more problems than when you started. This is called, it's not only identity theft, it's identity I gave it away. And that's actually exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. When we say whatever it is on the shirt, we are saying, I stand with them. And there's nothing wrong with that. My dad was in the military. Every time I see someone wearing the Air Force blue, shade of blue, I have a full-on moment, everything in my body just comes to a complete gentle stop and salutes the memory of everything that was. And then I carry on. Do I wear military blue, Air Force blue? No. Do I have? I don't. I have his medals and I have a keepsake, but I don't wear Air Force blue. I didn't enlist. In fact, after the life I lived, I said, enlist? No. That's a big bunch of nope right there, says Gary, my business partner. So where we are in the wait what is right now. We've always been in the wait what right now. However, in this immediate moment, it feels more present than usual. So the questions then that I'm asking today are positioning questions. They're global positioning strategies. They are our genetic position. Who am I? I know where I'm from. I know where they were from. And I presumably know where a bunch more of them are from. Who am I, however, is the product of so many details, so many strands of DNA, and so many events. You know, when I would mess up, I remember this when I was a little kid, my dad would look at me and he would say, heredity or environment? And I would think, I don't know what that means. When I'm old enough to pick up a book, I'll look it up. He could not figure out where my instinctive behaviors came from. Did they forget their partner's name is written on their arm? Oh yeah, that's nice. And maybe, well then while you're at it, put your anniversary date. Really, right? The whole idea of the positioning ourselves is not necessarily to be first best, because that's a temporary moment, right? It is to arrive. It is to arrive here now and say, yeah, I seem to have everything with me. Alrighty then, what's going on today? If we have a plan, if we have something we want to achieve, then that's what we get to look forward to. If we keep looking back at the number of things we tripped and fell over, you know, in my life, I have made a lot of people laugh really hard when I trip and fall. And there is one instance that was caught on camera and was used as a blooper reel on You Can't Do That on Television. And it is now, of course, on YouTube. And so it will be around till the end of time. And it was the day, Identities was the episode, and I was dressed as the Statue of Liberty. And I was clowning around behind the door backstage before going on. And because I was doing that, I wasn't in character and I wasn't ready. And when the studio director said, go, I turned and swan through the door, and I was holding my hand too high with the Lady Liberty lamp, which wasn't a lamp. It was a piece of styrofoam that had been lovingly carved by our props guy. And when I swanned on through the doorway, I cracked it in half on the door jamb. And it made the most ungodly thud you ever heard. And it startled me so much that I started to laugh. I held onto it so it didn't work. But I couldn't not laugh. I couldn't get past the laugh. I lost it. I kept trying to recover, but it was way too late. And then because it was infectious, everybody was laughing. So it was a disaster. And so did we reshoot it? Yes. And were we all worried that I was going to be able to make it through the goddamn door, for heaven's sake? Yes, we were all worried. Certainly the producer, who's counting how long this is taking, because time is money. Hurry up, Abby. Left foot, right foot. We've been through this. And so can I look back at it and laugh? Yeah. Do I live it? Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely. I have tripped and fallen in the most fascinating places. And the thing is that at a certain point in time, there's not really any point in being embarrassed, because have you seen the other ones? And so the wait what today, now, what we've got here, Rob is saying, show the before and after when it's done. Oh, the tattoos. And absolutely. Oh, excellent, excellent. And I think I had a particularly interesting grandmother. Miss Marnie Edwards, I had the most extraordinary grandmother. I did indeed. I am a throwback to a kind of a cross between Bridgerton and what's the other one with Dame, what's her name? She was a force to be reckoned with. So you thought that the lady Liberty Blooper did make the final cut. It did make the final cut. But no, actually it didn't. Actually it didn't, because there is another picture, Eddie, and it's a picture of, and I'm different and I'm not laughing. So it didn't, but they aired it as a part of the blooper reel. That's why we've all been able to see it. So for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, You Can't Do That on Television was an opportunity for me to play not only a mom, but a number of different adult female characters who really are overwhelmed by life to a significant degree. And for the children on the show, that became either a source of amazement, amusement, frustration, and oh well, as kind of a sidebar to the fact that the show was all around them, right? And less lie. So the wait what that I'm talking about today, because there's one more question I need to ask. Okay. Yes. This one is huge. Question is how they set their rules and play their game. My responsibility. Can I set my rules and play my game on my terms? I had a thing happen to me last year. Somebody I was quite close to, I realized had begun to behave in a way that didn't work for me. And I ignored it and I excused it and I worked around it for quite a while. And then one day, because things don't stay the same, they either get better or they get worse with intervention, because things are things. And the fact is that if you're on a downhill slope, every step you take is further down the slope, unless you make the conscious decision to turn around, climb back up. And one day there was a culmination of a lot of things that did not sit right with me that happened throughout the course of a day. And at the end of that day, I said, I'm done. At the end of that day, I had my quiet Pivotry in motion moment. When I realized it's actually a Milo moment, I'll explain that another time. I had my moment when I said, check, please. It wasn't for me to tell them how to be. Over time, I had said, please don't do that. Please don't do that. But it hadn't happened that often. And I would just say, I'm not, you want to do, no, but thank you. This, however, was a culmination. And I saw in that moment, I saw the ripples on the water of my pond. And I thought, this is getting worse. And it is behavior that they know I don't approve of. It is behavior they know upsets me. It's not judgmental. It upset me. It trespassed my boundaries on my terms, on my turf, on my time. That behavior came out of its comfort zone and walked all over mine. That's what was wrong. And I had said so. On this particular day, it was just a little more, and then just a little more, and then just a little more. And my little voice said, wait, what? No. And I lived that full Pivotry in motion experience in real time The things I talked about yet on Tuesday, feels like yesterday. Now what? When I saw this behavior was emerging, now what? What now what? What? Now what? And I couldn't come up with a strategy that worked, because when I said, on your time, do your thing, you be you. Not on my time, please and thank you. And it didn't work. Oh, sorry, but it didn't change. And I began to realize that it was deliberate. It was a quiet and intentional encroaching. Just a little more, just a little more. And then that one day I said, I see, that's a box of nope right there. And I made it clear. The thing is, I didn't say or else, and I didn't say what I was going to do. Because, by the way, not yours to own. And I did what all Vikings since the dawn of time have done. When I was ready, I just quietly got up, walked down the dock, got in the boat, untied the boat, picked up the oar, and sailed away. Angry? Oh, busy, right? Check the wind. Ooh, tide's turning. Tally-ho. No anger, no regret, no guilt, no shame, no what if, no remember when. Because those were beautiful chapters. And we've turned a page. The book is still the book. But I'm living this chapter right now. I don't like the way the last few ones were being written. Now, something had changed, something had shifted. I wasn't feeling it. Didn't need to read the rest of that book. I'm good. And this is what we get caught up in and fail to do. We get carried away by the momentum. You know, the conversation that Maggie and I have every 15 seconds, it seems like, is what is wrong? What is wrong? Are they listening to them? Like what they're doing is because, oh my God, AI, got to get AI. Has it got AI? AI. It sounds like they're trying to learn how to yodel. Really? And it's not working. And when we all of a sudden, I think we're all hearing it, that it has been a freebie, apparently. It's been an introductory offer. It's what in marketing is called a loss leader. We give away the first 5 free. It's also, I believe, how people hook people on drugs, right? The pusher gives you free samples, and then when you're hooked, now it costs you. Yeah. So that's what this is. All of a sudden, all of these top, however many people are saying, okay, so but we can't keep making it free. I mean, come on, people. Can't keep doing this for free. Here's what it really cost you. And oh, by the way, this is how much of it you've used already. There was a thing. Oh, thank you. When the enough is enough moment, absolutely. If you let people trespass on your morals, they will possess your land. Yes. They will possess, they will take from you the foundation upon which you stand. I see you and I share with you, Rob. How's that? We need to write stuff together. So, Eddie, I can't even say that. It's going to hurt my mouth. I can't say AI, EAI. I can't. I can't read it, parse it, let alone say it. So this business of all of a sudden, how much have I used? How much did that cost? Some company, I can't remember which, discovered their bean counter, their finance guy came to them and said, excuse me, sir, can I have a minute? Yeah. So the amount of money that we've spent on the use of AI is more than already this month, which would have been last month, May, is already, sir, more than our entire annual budget for everything by their numbers. Boss goes, what? Wait, what? The accountant first went, wait, what? So here's the dilemma. Everybody's been saying, use it, 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 stop, 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 stop. Well, you got us to use it. And as Maggie said, now, there's a lot of people with severe issues who are hooked now. What are they supposed to do? Nobody can afford it. Oops. So the wait what moment here brings us back to the beginning of what I was leading with. Jackals and Hyde. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde were good and evil. Our jackals, our inner voices, our naysayers, our doubters, the false voices we listen to that don't resonate, but we listen to them anyway. Without exception, as so far as I've been able to tell in my 20-something years of doing this work, is that the jackal voices don't urge us forward to act in our best interests. They tell us to run and hide. Don't shine. Who do you think you are? You don't know anything. Yeah, follow them, follow them, follow them. And so we do. And we dim our light. And we give away our territory. We give away our land. We give away our who I am now in this moment, standing here, walking here, because we listen to a voice from the past. No one in our family's ever done that. You're just like your uncle. He never amounted to anything. We listen to the hidden voices. And those voices are fear and uncertainty. Those are the voices of a well-intentioned survival brain trying to keep us safe by keeping us alive. And the thing that is so important to pay attention to is that survive is not the same thing as thrive. It never has been. It never will be. Survive is status quo. And God help anyone who does not have a subconscious brain that is doing its level best every second of every day and night around the clock to keep us alive, to keep us moving forward. Ray and I have this amazing conversation. Her body was shutting down. And she didn't feel it, and she didn't believe it. And had she just listened to her own inner voice, as she was trying to do, she would have died. What saved her, who saved her, was her service dog, who sent it, who alerted to what was going wrong. Because she couldn't see it. And she was doing what she thought was wise. But wiser heads prevail. That is the wait what. So the combination, my lovelies, the jackals, and the reason I use jackals is, of course, the lion effect. We are lions. We are walking here. We are a tribe because together we are stronger. We rock unless we let the jackals nibble at who we are and undermine our confidence and tell us, go on, you don't need to fight. We're good. We'll watch over you. No, don't do it. The Trojan horse story. Those warriors inside the Trojan horse. The trick that the Greeks played on Troy, wheeling a large wooden horse up to the gates and then pretending to retreat, that the 10-year war, they say, we give, you win, here is a tribute. And then they ran away. They didn't run away. They retreated and hid. Will they fall for it? Will they bring that wooden horse inside the gates? That's what the Greeks were hoping for, because inside the wooden horse, there were Greek warriors. What were those warriors going to save the day? No. If Troy opened its gates and the horse was wheeled in, the warriors inside that wooden horse, their job was to open the gates and let the others in. Beware the jackals. They are not your guides. When you get the feeling that maybe I shouldn't, no, I'm fine, really. It's not that bad. Yes, it is. Yes, it is that bad. And we do deserve better, because we are more. We don't have to do more to be more. We are all the more there ever was. We're just not facing the right way. And we didn't know there are tools. And now I'm saying to you, now what? Would you care to have me show you the tools and the techniques? Because that's what I do. And how do you know you need them? Because a little voice somewhere in there says, wait, what? That's your cue. That's the code word. Wait, what? That's the code, the hidden code. Wait, what? That's warning you the jackals are on the loose. And we can fix it. It's not hard. It's not IKEA instructions. God. So I'm going to love you and leave you. Before I do, my long and beautiful conversations with Rob and with Ray yesterday cemented a couple of things, and I just want to tell them quickly, even though we're getting close to time. It looks like Now What Wednesdays is probably going to be a thing. Now What Wednesdays is going to be an ABCAST, different from our Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. These are going to stay the same. I'm thinking around 7 p.m. on Wednesdays, probably an hour, 7 to 8 p.m. And the idea is it's either me talking about a now what, it's Gary and I talking about a now what and the kind of coaching we do. And most importantly, though, it's a guest coming on to talk about their now what's, their wait what's. Because what we want to create is the ability to conversate. We want to create conversations that do more than say, how are you? Fine, and you? We want to create conversations that we leverage each other to our best selves. I hope you love that as much as I do. I have been working on this project on Pivotry in motion and the lion effect since 2018. I have been working on Now What since 2006. This is the year, kids. As Rob and Ray and Eddie were saying yesterday, we are going to do live shows. We are going to build the most kick-ass live up close and in personal and virtual production team to get me in places in front of people where we're live together, interacting, generating the momentum, and shooting it at the same time. Because it's what is needed. We need to get ourselves back. Not to rebel. To let you know what? You want to be a rebel? You do that. You do you. Get off my lawn. We get to be if we stop chasing that. That's the plan. And I want you involved. This is episode 469. I have done this all by myself. I'm not guilting you. I got up every day. And there was a period of several months when I was driving to a hospital every day because somebody was in very dire straits. And I did the videos because I had made a pledge to me. And it matters when we do that. So my pledge is now what Wednesdays? My pledge is more of these. My pledge is Pivotry in motion, the lion effect. If you know somebody who is really at a crossroads, if you know somebody whose business is just not happening, if their career is not happening, if their lives are not happening, it's not that they've lost their way. It's that they're facing the wrong way. It's that they don't know they have the tools. I have resuscitated and recovered business. I resuscitated a world champion race car driver. Big business owners. I've resuscitated therapists, for heaven's sakes. I have no idea. And if I can do that for them, and if I have done that for me in my life, and believe me, my life, I was telling Rhea, Team Abby, absolutely. I was telling Rhea yesterday that a theater critic once said to me, "Where do you get your material?" Because fascinating show. And I said, well, mostly I just wake up. Occasionally I leave the house. The material says, "Hi, got a minute?" I suppose so. That's where it comes from. So almost nothing I have not seen. Everything I have said, "Give me a minute." There. And I have also learned the hard way that I don't have to slam the door on what was. When I'm going to draw a line in the sand, I give myself permission to draw a heart-shaped line. And I stand within it. And I tell the person that I will now love them from afar. Because we have reached our moment where our roads no longer cross. It's time to move on. Thank you for what was. And then carry on. Rhea just said that I revived her. She just wrote, "If you can help me without us knowing it, you can help anyone who wants it or doesn't know that they need it." Well, thank you. Rob says, "I tell people in my support groups all the time they must stop living their life in the rearview mirror. You'll never get to where you're going by focusing on where you've been. That will only end in a crash." You know what's really funny, Rob? The times on the highway when you're driving along and you're distracted and you haven't been checking your mirrors, and you learn to be a truck driver. And I took the course. And then to keep the world safe, I didn't become a truck driver. But they say check your mirrors, and it's a circle check. You know, you circle check outside the truck, you circle check everything in the truck, and then as you're driving, you know, you have that mirror, that mirror, that mirror, that mirror. 4, right? That one's hard because there's a trailer behind you. That's why you have all the other mirrors, but you circle check. So how many times have you, right? You're driving on the highway and you happen to then realize you haven't looked in the rearview mirror, and you look in the rearview mirror and all you can see is a close-up of the grill of what the hell is right behind me. Have you done that? And you go, "Oh, gee," and you almost, right? Check the mirrors, check the mirrors, check the mirrors. Everything about life comes with instructions. The funny thing is that the people who raised us never told us that. A lot of the time they didn't realize that because they were the instructions for us. And they didn't know it because it was someone in their lives who was the instructions for them. The thing that throws everybody off is it didn't come in a book. Well, this is coming in a book. I'm working on it. It's a collection, actually. They're short booklets so that it's not overwhelming. There's 10 of them. And you're going to love them. So having said all of that, the weekend is upon us. It's kind of warm here where we are. Maggie, I'm sure it's 106 in the shade, with or without the humidity. Please tell your friends that these videos changed lives. It changed mine. And now some of you are telling me it's changing yours. And I am so grateful. I am so proud of you for trying, for giving it a try, for saying, what the heck? I got a minute. Let's see what this is. We have a now what right after we have a wait what. And then we get to create a now what strategy and fly. And I do it with you, for you, every day, all the time. So with that said, thanks again to the LinkedIn crew. More groups are saying, hey, what's this? Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate my YouTube people. Freddie, I'm so missing your comments. We've got to figure out how to get you back on here. And everybody today, thank you. Rob, I'm going to see you soon. And Rhea, I'm going to see you soon. We're going to create the utmost damned astonishment, aren't we? And I'll let you know as soon as possible when Now What Wednesdays are going to take effect. And we will carry forward. So in the meantime, be good to who? You. Remember to hug who? Your loved ones. Why? You deserve it. They do too. Thank you. Thank you so much. Catch you next time.